How's it going, everybody? It's A Shinigami, and we got another banger for y'all. So, for all my people here in the United States, this great nation here once used to be many things, right? But as of late, democracy and other forms of government have kind of just been taking a little bit more, here and there from the people. So much so now that some of them are actually just saying the quiet parts out loud. As Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, D-Day Cobra, says, the ones that have the most to hide preach the loudest. And that can't be more evident than right now, especially with the whole, we're coming for your kids and worrying about Ukraine and other stuff across the world, instead of people here where homelessness is on the rise, where crime is on the rise, drug use, suicide, all that on the rise. I'm gonna say all the stuff that some of the people don't want me to censor and say. I think it's fucking bullshit. We should just be able to say what we actually think is on our mind, not tiptoe around, oh, don't say this, don't say that. I'll be on YouTube as long as I can saying what the fuck I think is actually happening, regardless of if I get monetized or not, right? Now, something about our former Vice President Mike Pence. He was going on being interviewed by Tucker Carlson, right? And, well, you know what? I'll just let it play out. So without further ado, how about we just transition now? Let me just make sure this is all fine and dandy. Yep. Got him, boys. And here we go.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vice President. I know you're running for president. You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years. Yeah. Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States. And it's visible. Our economy has degraded. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. And yet, your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern. Tucker, I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern. I'm running for president of the United States because I think this country's in a...
This is my day.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vice President. I know you're running for president. You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years. Yeah. Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States. And it's visible. Our economy has degraded. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. And yet, your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern. Tucker, I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern. I'm running for president of the United States because I think this country's in a lot of trouble. I think Joe Biden has weakened America at home and abroad.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vice President. I know you're running for president. You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have...
This is my day.
And there we have it. Mike Pence, everybody. Now, what he further says in his tweet that he put out later was, he's wanting to secure freedom. They want us to be the world's police overseas and here in the United States as well. Well, let me just tell you, it has been working. As big as the United States is, when certain amount of people don't want to go into the armed forces, that means the military doesn't have the strength it once had. And by trying to spread them out across the world, when you have them so spread out, right? Yes, every country does this, not exclusive, but if you do it too much, then the home state, guess what, gets very weakened. Mike Pence is trying to be like, hey, we got to be able to be out over there and also do it here, and we could do it. And it's just like, bro, you literally just answered saying that the concerns here at home are not your concerns. Now that could be either, because you're a super rich, your mind is not on the same scale, because when you have a lot of money, your brain just suddenly just acts different, right? Maybe that's the case. I don't know. The other thing that I guess is a part to play in all this is there's not very often that a politician will actually say that stuff where, like, it's not my concern. Basically what the voters are saying, hey, what about this stuff? I don't give a fuck, right? And it really just puts into perspective the whole this versus them mentality. So when you see stuff like Trump doing what he does and is actually trying to interact with people, get to know them, at least for those few minutes that they're there, they'll pay for their stuff, whatever. Some of it, yeah, you could say it's a bit of a publicity stunt, but he still inspires people, and yet he also still has a lot of people high in power that don't like him. They're very much, what the fuck is this guy doing? Blah blah blah, right? So clearly, the man has something, right? But unfortunately for whatchamacallit, Mike Pence, Ron DeSantis, they want to try and do their old political tactics. It's not going to work on someone like Trump, and it's not going to work for the U.S. with those tactics, right? We clearly saw you do really got to worry about what's happening here in the United States. We don't got to be fucking worrying about what's going on over there in Ukraine, especially, right? Especially when you know all the stuff going on with Joe Biden and the financial dealings that's going on. Get that shit away from the U.S., right? Get us back to protecting the border, as well as stopping the whole migrants crossing over, which also ties into human trafficking, which sound freedom, right? Like, all this ties in together. Worry about here at home first. Make this place good. It's I don't remember where I've heard it before, but I think a therapist or someone once said, you can't worry about other people until you've worked on yourself. So whether that means making your bed, whether that means taking out the trash, doing the dishes, making sure the house wherever you live is clean and all neat, then you can go out, have fun, party, do whatever the fuck you want to do, or promote climate change. But you got to do stuff that matters first to you and at home, then you can start worrying about the other people around. And that's what the US kind of doesn't realize right now. We need peace. We don't need war. Like Naruto once said, hatred only breeds more hatred. You need to stop the cycle. You need to cut it off at some point, right? People, you need to stop it. We were doing that, but then all of a sudden Joe Biden comes back in. Guess what? Pull out of Afghanistan. What happens? ISIS comes back in full. Taliban, right? What happens next also with the Ukraine? Boom, Russia goes to war with them. And then we also have China on the brink of going to war with fucking Taiwan and all that shit. I'll leave it at that, right? But yeah, Mike Pence, everybody. What a fucking dumbass. Hopefully, I would like to hear some of y'all opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Am I being too harsh? Am I too soft? Let's see. And other than that, I hope everybody has a wonderful day, a good evening, or a good night, wherever you're from. Happy birthday. Enjoy yourselves, right? This is Ace Shinigami signing out. Bye.